To do this, I take a heat dryer. Heat dryer! Hello my dolly dearies and welcome to another video. So today, it is a sequel to my previous video where I made Tucker of the band SOFI Tucker, and today we will be making the shorter one in the duo, SOFI. I'm really excited for these dolls again. They're such a change from my usual style, and it's such a fun to work with this really bright fabric that I ordered. Also, don't forget, I've now got a Redbubble shop, so make sure to go and check that one out once you're done with the video. But with that said, let's get on with the video. Now of course, the outfit we'll be making is very similar to Tucker's, due to it being the outfits for the Wet Tennis album. But for the base of SOFI we're going to be using this Cleo doll. She's got the perfect fierce face sculpt for SOFI. To start, we're going to have to clip away all of her super manky hair. To do this, I take a pair of sharp scissors and clip the hair as close to the scalp as possible. With her having a suitable buzz cut, we can remove her head from the body. To do this, I take a heat dryer. Heat dryer! Sorry, hairdryer to make the vinyl of her head extra squishy so that we can remove the head. With the head removed, we can take our needle nose pliers to scrape out all of the little plugs of hair from the inside of the scalp. Now, unlike being super duper sticky, for some reason the inside of this doll's head was just heaps upon heaps of really poofy hair, which didn't stick together at all. It was mildly confusing, to say the least, but also much more difficult to get out of the head. In all honesty, I think I might prefer the big gunky chunks of glue, because you can pull those out quite easily. But with all of the weird flocking mess pulled out from the inside of her head, we can get rid of that and get started with her reroot. I'll be using this wonderful hair from the Doll Emporium, and for her reroot. To do her reroot, I take a piercing tool to pierce the hole into the head, put a bit of hair over my rerooting tool and stab that into the guide hole I made. Guide holes are not compulsory, I just do them because I'm too paranoid about my needle breaking. But with her reroot done, we're keeping it quite thin, due to the fact we want the ponytail to be very slick to her head. I don't know how she does it, but it honestly looks amazing. But since I didn't want any extra poof, we only lined around the edge. And with that scraped back into a ponytail, we can put her into the sock of shame. Now we can remove her face with acetone. I dampen a small piece of cloth in acetone, and fingers crossed that we can get the face all off in one go. It's very satisfying when you can do this. Yeah, kind of. We got a lot of it off, but not all of it. My goal is to get everything off in just one wipe. But with her face prepped with a spray of Mr. Super Clear Sealant, we can get on with her face up. I ended up sketching one eye off camera because I was very bored, but if we ignore that, we can go in and start blushing with our chalk pastels. I take some browns to blush in the eye crease, some soft pinks for the cheeks, a bit of brown on the nose, and lots of reddy browns on the lips. Again, this doll's got quite a natural look, which is very different from my weird fantasy, sci-fi, steampunk creatures from across the land. But it's really fun to try something different. Taking an eyebrow brush, I dab on some eyebrows with some dark brown pastels, which work as a great base for the eyebrow. I blend out a bunch of the chalk on the face because it's looking a bit blotchy with a thick round brush. I then take a kneaded eraser to dab away and wipe any excess in the places I don't want it. Going in with a black pencil, I start redefining the eye shape. She has got very, very sharp eyes, which honestly, Sophie, teach me your secrets. I need to know how you do your makeup that well. But to try and do that on a doll was quite difficult to get everything looking super duper sharp, and the eyes to look equal at the same time. So mimicking the lines on the other eye, I sketch in a base in black, being very adventurous. I do not recommend going straight in with to anyone. Please use a brown pencil. Do not follow my example. I am a very bad leader. Taking in some white gouache, I can start building up a base for her eyes. I add a very thin watery layer in between the stencil which I'd sketched. I go back in with a black pencil to tidy up the edges where some of the more watery gouache had spilled out a bit. With the gouache very quickly dried, I can take the black pencil to start sketching in the outside of her eyes. I also tentatively tried to draw in some eyelashes, which surprisingly went okay. And then I decided that they did not look great, so I took the end of a dolphin eraser to erase them. It is slightly odd how good small animal erasers are on doll faces, because due to the weird sharp bits of their bodies, you can get really into all the crevices. For anybody who wants to get into doll customizing but doesn't feel the need to invest in a bunch of expensive erasers, get a bunch of animal ones, because honestly my box of them is really helping me. Anyways, I start to add in some colour for the base of her eyes, a grey as a base for her really strong blue eyes. I then very promptly forgot that her eyes were blue and started shading in brown, which I quickly realised was a mistake and had to rectify. I tried my best to wipe it away with a wet paintbrush, and when that wasn't working, I dampened the eyes a bit with the leftover water and just went over in blue, hoping that it would take and look better. I did, however, take some brown to add some depth to the crease of her eyes. And her eyebrows, of course. To do the eyebrows, I make sure my pencil is super sharp and do a bunch of small, short, feathery lines. Taking a black pencil, I dot in her irises. I want these to really stand out against the rest of the eye, so I go in for a pure black. Taking a small paintbrush with a lighter blue on it, I gently dab in highlights to the bottom of the eyes. For the finer details, I find that it is much easier to use a very fine paintbrush, going back and forth with the pencils and the paintbrush to tidy up where the occasional brush stroke had gone a bit too far over the edge. Going in with a pinky brown, I add some more colour to her lips. I start to tentatively sketch in some eyelashes, the most difficult part of the face up for me, with a water-soaked paintbrush close to hand to brush away any which might not work. With those done, I can take a small dab of white gouache paint to add a highlight dot to her eyes. And we can take some Liquitex high gloss varnish to make them super duper sparkly. With that painted on the eyes, we can remove her from the sock of shame, removing all of the pins from around her head. And there we have her completed head. We can reunite her with her body at long last. And of course, for her shoes, I just simply took some old Monster High shoe bases and painted them with some acrylic paint. I tried to follow the sneaker pattern which she wore, but due to the different sculpt, it was a bit difficult. For the outfit, I used the custom fabric that I got from Contrado, link will be in description, so will the pattern. Now, unfortunately, my skirt pattern was not perfect, and I cut some of the pieces out at the wrong size, and my guide one did not work perfectly, so we're eyeballing this one a bit. With our nice set of pleats and the two end bits, I start sewing those to the waistband, hoping that I can trim off the end pieces and it still looks okay with the gradients and such. I made sure to press all of the pleats beforehand so that they were easier to sew. Once pinned in place, I recommend you take an iron, a hair straightener. This really helps keep it in place when you sew. Links to all of the things, all of the instructions for the pattern and everything about the pattern will be in the description box below. But with her outfit sewed, she is done. And of course, in this video you can have your beautiful round of photos. I actually had to go and find a tennis court for this one because I really wanted to take photos of them on a tennis court, and I'm so happy with how these photos turned out, and both of these dolls. I love how she turned out. The face up, the outfit, everything. I'm honestly so proud of these dolls and absolutely love the fact that I was commissioned to make them, because otherwise I would never have made anything like these two. They're so awesome and it's been such a cool experience to do this. But thank you guys all so much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to like, leave a comment and maybe even subscribe. Or if you're feeling extra adventurous, share it with a friend. But thank you guys all so much for watching, and I shall see you all in the next one. Bye!